Dan, you wrote the Cam Ward profile, I believe. And so just get us started with a 10,000 foot view. What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? How high is the upside?
Yeah, Cam Ward's a really exciting prospect for me. I liked him more after watching his tape than I thought I would going into it, and my expectation what he is as a player. And I'll say the reason I love Cam Ward the most is what I think he can offer immediately for NFL offenses inside the red zone as a passer. This is an area where a lot of quarterbacks struggle. We lose out on a lot of fantasy points. Teams settle for field goals, and we move on, and we just move forward with, oh, this guy had one passing TD that game. Ward's the type of quarterback that can cash in on a lot of these red zone opportunities because I believe he'll immediately enter the NFL as one of the best red zone passers. Why? Because he changes arm slots and changes arm angles in the red zone. And with that ability to change his arm slot and arm angle, it's led to not getting passes batted down the line of scrimmage. For example, he's had just 4 passes batted down the line of scrimmage the last 2 seasons. Someone like Sanders has had 26, despite being similar height to Cam Ward, just as a comparison. But really in the red zone, what I see is a quarterback who can not only throw off platform, but from within the pocket. And there's so many plays I've watched of Cam Ward where it's a red zone play. It's basically fooled by the defense. There's nowhere to go. And he'll come off the play side, work to the backside of plays. This is something you rarely see from college quarterbacks, and find a solution. And sometimes that solution is, wow, there's zone defenders in front of the receiver in the back of the end zone toward the pylon. And he'll have the ability to throw the ball with trajectory over the top of that zone defender and then land it so it doesn't fall back out of the end zone so the receiver can actually make a play on the ball. I found that solution so often. So I think immediately for fantasy, he'll cash in with a lot of passing touchdowns, specifically in the red zone. But as an overall player, what I'm most excited about with Ward is he's a big game hunter, as I like to call him, because those intermediate levels of the field, specifically zone coverage, he's looking to attack. So that's the area where so many quarterbacks struggle. It's the reason I like Drake May so much watching tape of last year's quarterback class, because he was willing to attack that area of the field. It requires confidence as a quarterback. It requires timing, and it requires arm talent to actually fit those balls in those windows. And at the NFL level, you cannot get away with a lot of the stuff that some of these college quarterbacks get away with to rack up passing stats and numbers when you watch their tape. Ward doesn't rely on that. He's able to hit those, hole shots, as they call them. I know people are trying to phase out that term. I'm looking for a better term as well for what those are, but it's those tight window throws in between zones and areas of the field, outside the numbers, inside the numbers. He's great at both. He changes trajectory on the football. He can change pace on the ball, and his arm talent is phenomenal. Some have compared him, Heath, to Mahomes, and I find that from Mahomes to TTU, I find that comparison very disrespectful. While I do agree that they have similarities in the plays they make, in regard to some of the things they do outside the pocket, Mahomes' arm talent is not comparable to Cam Ward. It was on another level at Texas Tech. It was some of the best tape I've ever watched for a college prospect. But it's similar to how they try and win. They try and win by taking advantage of the intermediate and deep areas of the field. So it's exciting from a fantasy standpoint because explosive plays will lead to fantasy points, and that red zone work that he does will also lead to fantasy points.
Well, that's how Mahomes used to win. Now we just dink down the field. Dave, Cam Ward, Dan mentioned it earlier in the show that he really expects he's going to be drafted by the Tennessee Titans. Everybody, I think, expects that Cam Ward's going to go 101. Do you care about landing spot at all? Do you care if he's on the Titans or the Giants or someone else?
I mean, frankly, landing on the Titans is one of the worst spots for him to go. It's great because it means he's going to get on the field quickly. But no matter where Cam Ward goes, he's the best quarterback in this class. I'd be shocked if he didn't start week 1 of the 2025 season. That being said, Tennessee's offensive line, they're trying to improve it. They're trying to make it better. I don't know if it'll be a top 10 offensive line at any point in 2025. The receiving core, Heath, we kind of had a fun gag on Monday's FFT episode where you quizzed me on receivers on the Raiders, and I quizzed you on receivers on the Titans. That cupboard is pretty much bare. Their best receiver is 31-year-old Calvin Ridley. So they've got work to do to add receivers around whoever their quarterback is to try and make that offense more explosive. But I do think that Cam Ward, just by virtue of his playmaking style, his aggressive throwing nature, the way that Dan talked about his vision downfield, going for those intermediate deep throws, the throws that he talked about specifically, one was against Florida. I believe the other one was against Tech, where he just somehow sees a guy past the whole defense, 25 downfield, running on the back line of the end zone, and he fires a perfect shot. That type of stuff elevates other wide receivers. So if he can do that in the NFL, it doesn't matter which team he goes to. It would be great for the receivers, and it would obviously be great for Cam. I do think the Giants having Malik Neighbors, maybe an offensive line that's like on par with where the Titans are right now, would be a better spot. And the Browns kind of the same thing, but they're all in the same boat if you just remove Malik Neighbors from the equation. So yeah, perfect. Giants trade up and get Cam Ward. They pair him with Malik Neighbors. Already got some other good players on the team. Better for Cam Ward than having him start throwing to a 3-receiver set of Calvin Ridley, Traylon Burks, and Quan Jackson in Tennessee. Or I guess it would be Van Jefferson as the 3rd receiver. Either way, bad. So ultimately, yeah, I would.
We're going to try to get Dave's audio fixed here, and I'll go back to you, Thomas. We are talking a lot about Cam Ward and the good and the bad and the landing spot. And you said beforehand, like, he is somewhere between QB 10 and QB 15 in Dynasty as soon as he gets drafted. Let's talk about the upside. Let's say everything goes right for Cam Ward. He reaches his potential. How high could you potentially see him climbing eventually? Not right away, but eventually in the Dynasty rankings.
So and I know it's a little bit unconventional, but with what I consider to be a little bit of a limited upside as a rushing quarterback at the NFL level, I just want to make that clear. He's going to be fine. He's not going to be somebody like, for example, Drake May is going to give you better rushing numbers from a fantasy standpoint every year, in my opinion, and won't be close. But with the ability to throw a lot of touchdown passes that I do think he has, and potentially if he fits the right offense, I think we could see him all the way up at like QB6, QB7 range. And I actually like the fit a lot with the Titans personally. And I'll tell you why. I have much higher expectations for their offensive line. I think moving Latham over to right tackle is the best thing they could have done. And they got a solution to left tackle. And I trust in Bill Callahan. Like, I know what he is as an offensive line coach. And I believe that the few guys you can get as an offensive line coach, him, Stoutland, and a few of the other guys in the NFL, make such a big difference in the outcomes of these games. And I want to see his son, Callahan's offense with an actual big game hunter like Ward. So the receivers worry me. How could they not, right? But I think they'll add talent at that position. And I'll say this about Cam Ward that really stood out to me. He joined another system. He's joined a million systems, right? He went from Incarnate Ward to Washington State, and then he went to Miami. While guys like Sanders had multiple years to work with the receivers like Hunter and some of these other quarterbacks, he had one offseason, and he got right on the same page with them like this. The rapport looked like, and their chemistry looked like they'd been playing together for 3 years. That shows me that he can mesh with any different group of receivers. And you look at some of the games, Dave brought up the Virginia Tech game. A lot of these games, they were gotta-have-it moments for Cam Ward where, it's 3rd and whatever, they're down because Miami's defense was so bad and he had to make all these comebacks. And he just made those plays and those gotta-have-it moments. That leads me to believe that he can have early fantasy success. But I think the ceiling for me, because of that rush, what I consider to be a little bit of a limited upside rushing, would probably be in that QB 6 to 8 range.
So earlier, Dan had mentioned that 10 to 15 range, Dave. And one thing I'm doing this week is going through and updating my Dynasty tiers and adding the top rookies to those tiers. I don't like adding rookies to the rankings before the draft because landing spot and draft capital matter way too much. But I can put them in tiers. And so this will be just one-word answers, Dave. I'm going to put you on the spot. I put Cam Ward in tier 3. There's 6 quarterbacks ahead of this tier. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Those are the top 2 tiers in Dynasty. Amongst these quarterbacks, you can just say Cam Ward or Caleb Williams.
Caleb.
Cam Ward or Brock Purdy.
I'll still say Purdy.
Cam Ward or Jordan Love.
Give me Cam Ward there.
Cam Ward or Kyler Murray.
I'll take Cam Ward.
Cam Ward or Bo Nix.
Nix. I really like what I've seen from him. Oh, wait, that was more than one word.
Cam Ward or Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
Cam Ward or Drake May.
May.
Cam Ward or CJ Stroud. I feel really, really good now about the tier that I put Cam Ward in.
Yeah, for sure. The fact that I really love both of these quarterbacks, the fact that I'm wincing at saying Ward over Stroud or Stroud over Ward says a lot. I think I'm still going to take Stroud, but
okay,
damn, that's close.
So he is, for all three of us, firmly in the QB 10 to 15 range in terms of dynasty value. You can use that if you're approaching your rookie draft and you are or are not a Cam Ward believer as a way to maybe acquire that 101 pick. That's going to do it for Cam Ward, who's likely the 101 of the NFL draft.